Okay, guys, we are live on YouTube and just adding all the participants to the meeting. But I'm just going to request all the participants to please keep your microphones on mute and your videos off. Okay, welcome everyone to yet another session of F.Stop. And we've been having a phenomenal session series since the last 12, 13 days. We've just kind of lost count as to where we are. And today we have Rakesh Kumar Pulapa. Rakesh is going to be doing his session. And before I introduce Rakesh and before we formally start the session, I just wanted to say something that I've been hearing in the last few sessions, and particularly the session from Raj and then Vinay, and today Rakesh is there. And there is this one word which all three of them have somewhere or the other message commonly, and that is uh, accident. And they have used this word time and again, saying that either they got into photography accidentally or something happened accidentally, or Rakesh gave a TEDx talk, The Accidental Photographer. And I thought I'll just say this. Master Ugwe said, there are no accidents. And so, whatever has happened in any of your lives, whether you got into photography by accident, you picked up a camera by accident, or in Rakesh's case, he was gifted a camera as part of a wedding gift from his brother in law. That was no accident, Rakesh. That was destiny. And today we are going to be seeing what you have been able to do with that gift of a camera, which came as an accident, as you have rightly said, and you became an accidental photographer. So, welcome, Rakesh. Welcome to you from all of us. And
Thank you. Thank you, Zain.
yeah, I'm just going to tell all the participants on the group and on the Zoom session that today we are live on YouTube once again. So if you want to just spread this message, you can tell your friends that we have a live feed of this session available on YouTube today, and that's the link for everybody to copy and paste. I will quickly take this opportunity to also make one more observation. Uh, it is said that photography, it's like a photograph is the truth. And when you think of it, when a photographer takes a picture and he has captured a moment, he or she has captured a moment and frozen that instance in the form of a photograph, it's the truth. It becomes the truth. It is what you have seen at that moment. It is what you are going to see for days and years to come, because the photograph is not going to change. And so whatever we have been observing in the sessions since so many days, starting with Saurabh and then Boman Saab and then Raghu Rai Saab, Raj, Vinay, we saw Tarun's work, Fazan Saab, Amit Mehra. All of this is part of different genres of photography. And so far we have seen street, documentary, people, live, bit of Bollywood, and lots of diverse things that we have seen. And what we are about to see today, I can say, because I have been privy to the photographs that Rakesh is going to show us today, is going to soothe your eyes and it's going to soothe your soul. These are the pictures that Rakesh has taken, and as true as a street photograph is, or as a documentary photograph is, or a live portrait is, these pictures are the truth themselves. And this is what the beauty is there in our country and in so many other places that Rakesh has been to. So Rakesh likes to call himself as a travel photographer. Uh, Although Rakesh, a photographer, is just a photographer. I don't think we can categorize it any better. Rakesh obviously got into photography because of a gift that he received from his brother-in-law as part of the wedding gift. And since then, Rakesh has produced some amazing work. He has traveled to 26 countries across the world in search of the work that he's going to show to us. By profession, he was again a computer science engineer, as we have so many on our panel been there as an engineer and then have come into photography as a either as a hobby or as a profession later on. Rakesh, some of his achievements, and he's won a lot of awards. I'm not going to make this an award recital ceremony, but he has won. He's been a first prize winner in HIPA, and we all know that HIPA is a very prestigious photography competition in Dubai. He won this in 2019, so just last year. Apart from that, he has won a number of National Geographic competitions. He's also been featured on a number of magazines as well as shows. And one of the shows which I would definitely like to mention is that one of the world's oldest photography exhibition, which is done by the Royal Photographic Society in London. His work was exhibited in 2019 in the RPS exhibition. He's also been exhibited in Mexico and uh, across a number of countries by National Geographic themselves. Rakesh has worked with a number of corporates and government organizations as part of his photography. He's worked with MasterCard, JW India, Jet Airways, LG. He is also he's the photographer for the Andhra Pradesh government as for their tourism department. And some of the assignments that he has done and he's going to show with us are really, really amazing. And so before I hand it over to Rakesh, and Rakesh is going to take us all through his journey and through the pictures, Rakesh belongs to a place called Rajamundry. And it was so beautiful when he was talking to me in this week when we got him on board to represent. He said, when I started photography, I was just curious to see what I could shoot in Rajamundry and showcase my small town, which is in one remote corner of this beautiful country called India. And I just wanted to see how best I could show Rajamundry in and how best I could bring it out to everybody to see. And believe me, Rakesh, I can say this to you as a credit to you that you have not only done some phenomenal work in showcasing Rajamundry, but I think what you're going to show is definitely going to dazzle everyone. So without taking much of your time, Rakesh, over to you.
Thanks, Devang. Thanks for your kind words. I don't know what's left in my introduction to tell about me. You pretty much covered everything. Hello, everyone. It's been a great honor and pleasure to be among all of you. I would like to thank firstly F.Stop for putting up this epic series. and giving me opportunity to listen to the stories of the incredible journeys of the people I look up to, and to share my story as well. Mm, After graduation, I rejected my job offer, then got into my family business. Then simultaneously, I started few business of my own, and my life was going in a flat line. It was going good, but it was not exciting nor inspiring. I was lacking that focus. So around that time, I learned basics of photography through YouTube and Google. Initially, it was hard for me because I didn't know how to and where to start. I live in a small city, Rajahmundry, where there's not much scope of attending photo walks or workshop or even meeting like-minded photographer. So at times it was frustrating for me, and there were many instances I thought maybe photography is not for everyone. Uh, but I kept going. I kept shooting. Didn't give up. So it took nearly 3 years for me to go on a shoot with a fellow like-minded photographer. I'm happy where I am today, and I'm constantly looking forward to learn new things. So I will jump into my presentation. It's divided into two parts. Hope you can see my presentation. Through part one, I'll summarize my travel photography, and through part two, I'll showcase the hidden beauty of my hometown and its surroundings. Here's a picture taken in Bali, the sunset shot, and there's a fisherman shooting. I like shooting fishermen a lot, and you've been seeing a lot of fishermen. It's an aerial shot of kids playing by river dam. I like shooting Milky Way because it is challenging. You need to be at right time and right place to take shots like this. And in this case, the right time is 4 a.m. in the morning. If you go to places like Bali, the biggest challenge is to come back with a different picture because it's been photographed a lot. This was shot at a place called Tanalot, which photographed a lot. So I shot for Tanalot, and I wanted to do something different. Then I turned my camera towards the other side of Tanalot, and I found this fisherman. Then I waited for some time, and when I observed the bats flying towards that side, then I captured this. This is coincidentally the one guy is posing for some picture, so feels like an imitation game of the fisherman. Yeah, ever since I got my drone, I always wanted to shoot surfers. So a day before taking this shot, I shot surfers, came up with good shots, but by the time I reached hotel back, to my disappointment, my memory card got corrupted. So again, I had to cancel my existing plan for the next day, and I went to the same place to take this shot. This was shot in Buron Island in Venice. This was my first trip I took after I started photography. I had taken around 3,000, 4,000 odd pictures, but I came up with 6 or 8 decent shots. This was shot in my favorite place, in the most favorite place in the world, Bruges. I'm supposed to be there 2 days back, but unfortunately, like many, I had to cancel my travel plans. This was taken in Charmer in Hyderabad during Ramzan night. The whole place comes alive during Ramzan. All these shots were taken around 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. and you can see the craziness during that time. A few shots taken at Taj. The lone admirer of a great view. And this particular trip, this was shot in Vietnam, the north part of Vietnam. It was an 8-9 day trip, 9 day trip. So this particular trip taught me many things. And one main thing is patience. Because the whole trip, we've been encountering heavy rains and landslides. And to shoot these unique rice terraces, you need good light. And we hardly got that. And these are the shots I took during that limited time I got. And these rice terraces are very unique and different, as you can see. And then on the last day of the trip, I had seen one of the best sunsets I've ever seen. This is even hardly processed. I just pulled up some shadows. I didn't need to. Sometimes, nature is the best painting canvas we get. And there's one place in North Vietnam called Hong Chi. There, the night sky is so clear that I could able to shoot this Milky Way with a phone 2 years back. And if you have drone, you can make friends anywhere in the world. That's me. That's me lying down on the road taking selfies. It was a great time. And then this is one of my most favorite waterfalls in the world. This is Chitrakoot Falls in Chhattisgarh. And the boat ride there is breathtaking. And you can go as a tourist or you can go as a photographer. You still can have a great time. I'm just planning to go there again without camera this time. As you can see how beautiful is that falls. Now I want to show some pictures taken in Western Ghats of India. There are some unique parts of Western Ghats. This was shot in shot in Valparai. This was aerial shot. You can see how unique is the landscapes there. Shot above clouds in Kolukumalai.
Rakesh, just go a little slow
Yeah.
so that viewers get some time to see the pictures and admire them. Yeah.
Sure. So most of these shot you've seen with good light. We have, I and like most of the photographs, we have to overcome a rain before or a moody weather. Work in progress. The story behind this shot is I went to Kabini hoping to shoot like my Black Panther and leopards. For 3 days, we didn't get any sighting, and I was very disappointed. So on the way from Kabini to somewhere in Bangalore, I took this shot. These shots now, which I'm going to show, were taken in China, south part of China. It's again another unique place, one of the least explored. This particular shot was taken from the hotel. It rained few minutes before this shot and it rained few minutes after this shot. You can see how beautiful is that landscape. It's a dragon's land, literally.
And Rakesh, you might also want to add that if you can go back to the previous picture.
Yeah.
This particular picture was chosen by China Tourism.
Yeah, China, yeah, as a first prize, yes.
Yeah, great.
It was another classical example of being at right time, right place. She came to take selfie. That's made the good composition of the picture. And during this particular shoot, they are cormorant fishermen of China. So that's when I shot this 3 years back, that's when my obsession with fishermen started. The throwing their nets, which I'm gonna speak more in the part of my presentation. This is again one of my favorite pictures. You can see there's no light. This is pre-dawn, pre-sunrise shot. My only light source was that lantern of the fisherman. And these were the floating mask taken at Sabah. It's a beautiful mask. One of my good friends and favorite photographers, Joshua Karthik, was there. We were flying together at that time.
Joshua is with us today on the in the meeting.
Great.
Yeah.
And this was shot in backwaters of Kerala, Alapi. And Kerala is the most favorite place to shoot. The backwaters there are breathtakingly beautiful. This is a place I don't mind going, keep on going again and again. And please experience Adrenal of the famous snake boat race of Kerala. So these particular shots were taken a day and 2 days before the devastating Kerala floods 2018. We had a lucky escape from that place, but it's sad what happened later. This is my first award-winning picture from Canon. The reflection shot of Chinese fishing net taken at Kumarkom again in Kerala. Kerala is beautiful in every corner. This is another hidden place still, the Munro Island of Kerala, another place to shoot backwaters. Yeah. And if you see backwaters on one side, places like this, and see on other side, it has to be Kerala. And how can it be not God's own country? This was taken at Jatayu Center, the Jatayu bird from Ramayana, where the bird fell. And they made this masterpiece, this world's biggest bird sculpture. And I had a privilege to shoot a couple of months back. This is my travel photography so far. Then shall I go to the second presentation or should I stop for some time?
No, go ahead with the second one. Yeah, we are getting good questions, and so we will keep the questions coming. Also request all the participants to put their questions in the chat window.
You can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
It's like that. So far you've seen my travel work. Until 2-3 years ago, I haven't shot anything in my hometown or its surroundings because I had this feeling in my head that all the good landscape for taking good landscapes, we need to travel to exotic locations. And after I start, it clearly changed. After I start shooting in my surroundings and my hometown, my perspective was completely changed. So the place where I grew up all my life, the place which I thought I knew, has become that unexplored place which I always wanted to explore. Location scouting is still a challenge to take because most of these places are not explored. Please please experience the hidden beauty of my surroundings, of my humble town, Rajahmundry, and this is my city on the banks of River Godavari. The bridge which you see in the beginning is the Roadcom, the Asia's second largest Roadcom railway bridge. We have 4 bridges in my city, so we can call it city of bridges. So rituals of Godavari Arti, they perform every day. The firecracker shot taken on the banks of Godavari. It was shot near the native place of my father. You can call this as how aerial photographers create their own drum set, you may call, which is not. And this is another crazy sunset I shot from my place. And this is one of the first pictures where we can see all the 4 bridges of my city. And the other side of this picture of the bridges is another district. So this side of my place is called East Godavari district. Other side is West Godavari. So you can see 2 districts in one place, one photo. This is rural part. This was shot during Dasara night. It was heavily crowded, so I flew drone from my house, which is close by. And this was shot during Ramzan. It was during Ganesh Visarjan. And this particular picture, it was taken just 20 minutes away from my home. This is classical example of urban wildlife. Still, it's a mystery that how these black bugs came here. You can see in the background, it's a famous cotton barrage. And one good thing about these beautiful animals is the locals are protecting them. This aerial shot of the same black bugs. And within 2 hours drive from my home, I could able to shoot Milky Way. I shot exactly 1 year back on this day. This particular shot, I wanted to do something different in a single shot without any composite. So I flew my drone and I used it as a light source. Can anyone guess what's this picture? I mean, what's the white thing on the tree?
Birds?
Yeah, true. There's a story behind. There's a flock of egret birds. The story behind it, it was taken in the forest area. We were going to some place for Astro, but my friend Srikant he likes to rescue snakes. So he stopped the car. He was saying there's a snake spotted, so you need to rescue. We were very scared to get down. Then he spotted these birds. The whole time I shot this, we were, you can imagine it's a complete dark place. A snake or anything can come from any corner.
Very cool.
Thanks. Train passing through, and my place again famous for rice fields. You can see the land of endless rice fields in this picture. And shots like this, you need to have a lot of patience, double movement. This another beautiful place I shot. This is called Gandikota. This place is often refers as Grand Canyon of India. It's another beautiful place I shot.
Where is this?
This is in Kadapa district. It's close to Bangalore side of the state. It's a must explore place. And even I have plans to shoot next month Astro there, but I'm sure I'm not gonna go now. And now I'm going to show the least explored Eastern Ghats of India. All these coming pictures were taken in Eastern Ghats.
Wow.
So none of these places are explored as of now. So this particular shot, it was away from away from everything. There's no nearer town. There's no phone signal in within 1 2 hours radius. Now it's a restricted place. There's only tribe. We just met people. We didn't even understand what they're speaking. They're speaking some tribal language. But it's a great experience, and we could able to even connect people like them if you fly drone or even with a camera. And the next shot is an Astro picture taken at the same place. Even there were snakes there when we took the shot. This is again one more hidden. My family, one of my favorite waterfalls. This is a series of waterfalls. I'll show. Yeah, you can observe in the aerial shot. All these pictures were taken in Eastern Ghats. This was shot in another hidden gem of a place called Lambasingi, which is one of the coldest places in South India. In winters, the temperature goes there as low as 0 degrees. And I think this is the only place in South India where they farm apples. This particular shoot, which I'm very proud of, the reason being, this is one of the first shots taken in Arku Valley above the clouds at this particular spot. Till I hiked up to that place, I was very skeptical. uh, because I haven't seen any shots above the clouds in that particular Eastern Ghats and this part of Araku. And most of the credit for this shoot goes to these beautiful souls. They were my trekking help. They kept assuring me that I can see clouds, so I just followed their footsteps. So after exploring, so this is another place I found. You can see you can see rice fields by the sea, which is a very rare occurrence. And on the same road, I had taken this particular shot. This is one of my favorite techniques to use with drone. This is called droneception. If you remember shots from the movie Inception, in even the posters where the buildings goes upside down. So this is basically inspired from that concept. Basically, using drone on the same place, you need to take multiple shots at different perspectives, and you need to blend them in Photoshop. I mean, we are not we should not add or modify the place. Just you need to change the perspective with the same technique at the different place. I taken this. This is one of my favorite shots till date. It takes plenty of time to make this, but it's totally worth it. I mean, you need to be good at taking with drone and imagining the concept, as well as you need to be good with Photoshop skills. And now, if you remember me saying that I've been obsessed after shooting fishermen in China, so I came back and I kept shooting fishermen in my place. Uh, I treat fishermen as an artist because I have never seen a fisherman with a bat throw it. There's some grace in throwing their net. You can see the aerial shot. And I've been interacting with them a lot of fishermen in my place. The stories we share with each other. It's another beautiful thing about doing photography, maybe. And this is one of the shots that I had the caption in my mind even before taking this shot. The caption is "Artists on a Boat." And to take different perspectives, I use mobile to take these shots. To take shots like this, you need to go inside the fishing net. It will be worth it, but you will smell like a fish for a day or two. And you better give heads up to your home before going. And these are a few of the fishermen in my place. They commute from their island to this place. The future pilots, uh, they are the children of the fishermen in that small island. So whenever I shoot, it's like many, they have this curiosity. So one fine day, I taught that guy, that child, how to operate the drone. So within no time, he learned, and he operated very smoothly. He really maneuvered drone well. And this picture was this is one picture that showcased in the International Photography Exhibition in London. This is another unique place. This island surrounded by mangroves. If you may observe keenly the shape of this island, now the other angle of this same island, it looks like a fish, right? The irony behind this shot is only fishermen lives in that island. And even while taking the shot, the locals were stunned, and you can imagine the discussion between us.
Beautiful.
This shot was taken in Koringa Wildlife Sanctuary of mangrove forest. So To reach this particular place, we need to come to this beautiful backwaters. And this particular wildlife sanctuary is home for the rare species of fishing cat and smooth-coated otters and many birds. And on that particular day of shoot, I learned many things about mangroves. Uh, mangroves are very crucial for our coastal ecosystem. They act as a shield to protect the coastal line. They are rich in biodiversity, even they encourage ecotourism. But sadly, in spite of all this, of the world's mangroves have been either altered or destroyed. But how can we put an end to it? That occurred to us. So it's only through practicing coexistence we can do that. And that's the message I wanted to convey when I shot this particular picture. And on a border perspective, you can see there's only thin line between man and the wild. And right now, we cannot afford to cross it. And this is a picture that won me an award in HIPAA and many awards. And to summarize my journey, I won best award of my life for the picture that I had taken just 60 minutes away from my home. Okay, that's all from me.
Amazing work.
Thanks everyone. Thanks everyone.
Awesome. So we definitely have a lot of questions, but I just thought I will have Joshua, who's joined us today. And Joshua, if you can, if you would just like to say a few words about Rakesh, or you want to ask any question to Rakesh.
I think I got to spend a certain amount of time with Rakesh when we were invited by Malaysia Tourism. We had traveled to Borneo last year. And I think the thing that stood out for me is how passionate he is about the work that he does. In the limited amount of time that we had with sunrises and sunsets, he already had his ideas mapped out. He had his locations mapped out. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. So the kind of pre-prep that he showed and the kind of situational awareness, right? Regardless of where we were landing on that day, was quite commendable. I think I've taken away stuff from that for sure. This is not someone who runs and guns and who just lands up at a place and just shoots whatever is visible to be seen. He actually plans his shots, which is lovely to see and learn from. I think the big takeaway for me from having met him last year and interact with him all through this year is that everybody says that you don't have to travel far from home to make beautiful images. You don't have to travel to exotic locations, but there are very few people who prove it as viscerally and as beautifully as he has managed to do time and time again. So for that, my comment to Rakesh. Rakesh, a question for you.
Yeah,
See, you also have a full-time job. When we look at your work, it seems like you're a full-time photographer. You travel all the time. But in fact, you have a very busy life from what I know of your schedule, right? So how do you make time for this? How do you make room for this? You have a family at home. You have responsibilities. Where do you get the time? If you just look at your portfolio work, it seems like you're traveling the world all the time, or you're in Rajahmundry, you're here, there, everywhere. How do you do this?
before that, Joshua, it's nice to see you again, and thanks for the kind words. So, yeah, I mean, when you have the passion, I mean, when you live in a place in a small city like Rajahmundry, if you have nothing much to do, you need a hobby. That's how I started. Then you get time. We have nothing to do in weekends as of now. So I like traveling. So we somehow used to travel a lot. And right now, I'm thinking to take. I mean, once I started getting interesting assignments. Once I started taking up projects from government, so the pendulum slowly started shifting. So even right now, I'm thinking to go full time as a photographer. So, and even yesterday's Vinay's talk, I've been very inspired. Yeah, that's about that.
Great. Thank you so much, Joshua. I would just open it to our panelists. If you know any panelists would want to ask a question to Rakesh or maybe comment about his work.
Uh,
Ji,
so
Tarun ji.
hi, that was fantastic work. I was like really very impressed by what you've done with the drone, and there are many people those who shoot with drone, but you've
Thanks.
seen graphics in pictures, and the divided pictures into half is like urban life, and how half is nature, which is so beautiful to see. Uh, just want to ask technical thing in terms of you need special permissions to fly, or you can just do it just quietly without informing anyone, or like what's the scene with with this?
Uh, Thank you, sir. It's a very tough question to answer. So, so I work for government. I take a lot of freelance projects,
No.
and some of the forest areas I covered, I work with forest department as well,
Okay.
and with local AP tourism. So most of the shots, I take. But that's one reason I prefer places like Bali or Vietnam to travel, where there won't be many restrictions of using drone.
Okay. Okay.
So
Because I did one job in Cape Town, and I shot the picture where you were take almost 80 images, and the camera, the drone goes up and a little forward, then you take another picture, then you go a little more up and then go forward, and then so you almost shoot 80 images to just build them and stitch them together to give that look. Was it easy for you to, because in my case it was a commercial job, so we had to shift some buildings here and there because the top of every building was very atrocious. But in your case, it's all very natural. So, were you keeping the same landscape, or you changed it a little bit?
I didn't get your question, sir. So
So I'm saying the you showed one picture where the
as
inception type picture,
yes,
where
sir. Don't.
how many images did you shoot to stitch them
Yeah.
together?
So it took quite time for me to achieve that, sir. Still chasing the perfection, because
Mm.
we need to be good with Photoshop,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's a 50% of it. I'm not great with Photoshop in like doing these manipulations. And the
Okay.
second part, like you said, 50% of doing the drone work, the pictures. I mean,
Yeah.
you need to pre-visualize the image even before you
Yes,
takes,
yes,
right?
yes, yes.
And you cannot take this in any place. You need either a straight road, or while blending the images, it
Yeah,
becomes difficult. And if you have something like you said, landscapes or water bodies, if you change the angle of the drone, the
yeah,
shadow changes, the
yes,
contrast
yes,
changes,
yes,
right?
yes.
So, and again, so that's what you have to deal with. So I prefer shooting on a cloudy days for this, where
Mm.
even if you change the angle of the camera drone, you won't get more shadows or change in the
Lighting
contrast.
is not changing. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah,
But till you process your image or till you edit, we're never sure if you get the right one of
yeah.
these kind of images.
It's a nightmare making these kind of
It's nightmare. It is nightmare.
yeah. Okay.
Rakesh, should I put you on the spot and ask you more about how to fly it, how you get around flying a drone in India? No, but that said, I think I see a lot of questions in the questions
Chat.
in the chat as well. Because Rakesh is feeling shy about answering this, can I take a gander at? Can I take a chance at answering it for you?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah, Arey, don't
I'd be
call me
honored.
sir. Yeah. No, so the thing is, I think every single photographer who's shot street here knows there's a fine line between, I think Vinay also said it, between being in your face and being respecting the place, right? So if you're able to fly a drone in a place where you see the beauty in it, and you're not encouraging, and you're doing it safely for a few seconds and no more than that. Plus, most importantly, take important laws into account. Like when somebody says don't fly the drone around Taj Mahal, don't fly the drone around the Taj Mahal. Simple, right? Because I see a lot of international photographers breaking those rules as well. Do what you would in other countries as you would do in your own, and do in your own country as you would in other countries. I think if you put that both into place, respect it, then I think it's fine. I think Rakesh has done a brilliant job of responsibly flying aerially and getting his photos. So I think kudos to that. And the fact that he's able to share these photos means that there are other photos that he's not sharing with us as well.
Thank you, Joseph. I might record your video and will be sending the same video to everyone who asked me that question. And no, it's been more than helpful.
Yeah.
And to add to your point,
Hmm.
so one of the rules I kept for myself for flying drone, I'll make sure there's no flights flying above me. I use flight radar wrap. And two, I won't fly over temples to respect, and don't fly anywhere 5 kilometers radius within the airport. And I'll try to inform the police station as much as possible. If I plan shoot in my city, I'll try to inform. That's why there's only one particular place in my city. There are many pictures which which I've been informed. I informed them to shoot. And then the shots being, I don't like flying above people. One of the few shots which you had seen, the Ramzan shot, I have my friends there. I informed them even before I shot, just to respect whatever they're doing.
Right.
So, like you said, we need to have that set of rules before for any photography, but especially for aerial.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. No, good job.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks, Joe.
Awesome.
Huh.
Thank you, Rakesh and Joseph. I'm just gonna take a few questions from our audience chat here, and if I can have Jassi Oberoi, if you're there, Jassi, you can unmute yourself. Or not, I will unmute you. Yeah. Okay, Jassi, you can start your camera and you can ask the question to Rakesh. Hi, we see you.
Yeah, hi. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Hi, Rakesh.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Yeah,
Sir?
no, don't call me sir, because it's been a pleasure actually watching somebody in this kind of forum who actually pursues travel and landscape photography, and it is like a dream for all of us to actually be even recognized. So my question also revolves around the same. Um, in India, it is extremely difficult to gain recognition, not in terms of ego boosting, but I hope you understand, gaining recognition as a travel and landscape photographer. So many people I know have over a period of time started being one, but eventually forayed into something which is more commercial value attached to it. So why did you still pursue this? And second part, I feel that photography changes people in more positive ways. So how has your association with nature and photography changed you as an individual or played its role in shaping you the person you are right now?
Thank you, sir. It's an honor just to connect with you for the first time.
Oh, no, please.
So for the first question, it's a very good question, especially the second one. So even still even today, I like shooting because that's one reason it puts a smile on my face. I'll add a story to it. Last week after this lockdown and all, it hit me. I was feeling very low, kind of low. It's not new for anyone. I even had to cancel my travel plans on few projects, just like many. So that time I picked up my camera. I went to terrace. Since I just made the most out of it. Even Devang is here. We've been trying to connect. So every time he messages, shall we speak tomorrow morning? Has been messaging them. No, I'll be shooting star trails till midnight. So till 5 a.m. and few shots. So just making the best out of the situation. Now I can see more birds than before from my terrace and even stars. So that's how I just using it. And for the coming to second question, sir, how it made me a better person in many ways. For instance, my first Milky Way shot I taken at Ladakh, I didn't know that was Milky Way. I didn't know why. Then I started asking question why we cannot shoot Milky Way. Then that's because of light pollution. And once you start shooting in the places, beaches, right? We spend tons of time in cloning the trash. That's when you start learning from it. And then I have to admit, even maybe I used to throw trash on the road. I'm not doing it now. So another thing is the mangroves, which I told. When I shot, it completely changed my perspective towards nature. That particular shot, it made me study about more climate change. It made me study more about the impact of mangroves. So as I'm not a conservationist or conservation photographer, but I just trying to be more responsible towards what I shoot or even what I want to convey through my pictures. That's about it, sir.
That's wonderful, Rakesh. And can I ask another one also? Is it?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. There's another part that I've also faced a lot of times, and I'm sure you would also have faced. You are at the location which is out of your mind. It blows your mind off with its beauty and pristine nature. And is for you taking that final shot, which is an award-winning shot, more important than actually enjoying the scenery and the beauty of the place. And sometimes it might so even happen that when you start enjoying, you get lost in it so much that you forget to take an image. So what is more important, or you still try and strike a balance somehow in between the two?
Definitely the later, sir, without any hesitation. And any of the award-winning pictures of mine or someone's, I'm sure they didn't have that winning award is the first thing in the place. You cannot go to shoot someplace to win an award or something to prove. So one thing I always keep in my mind is to prove something to anyone, you have to prove to yourself. It's just like being in that moment, like your pictures, which I admire a lot.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes.
It's amazing. Thank you so much, Rakesh, for even answering.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oberoi. Yeah. Okay, Rakesh, I'm going to ask a question which has come from Parth Mehta on YouTube. Okay, and that question is, how do you find, and I think this question will be there in many people's mind, how do you find locations which are not documented or are mentioned anywhere, you know? So how do you scout for such beautiful places to shoot?
Yeah, that's still, even till today, it's a toughest challenge. There were many instances in my place, in my surroundings. I went on a day, a 2 days shoot or 3 days shoot, and I came back with 0 pictures. And so initially, this is how I used to plan. Even now, I spend hours and hours time on Google Earth, first thing. And it helps me to find a location as well as for a drone shot. Second, I employed this technique that helped me a lot. I watch a lot of Telugu movies. Then I started watching Telugu movies shot in my place. For the songs, they do the proper location scouting. Then this particular movie called Rangasthalam, which was shot here, native of my father, which I didn't know that beautiful, that inspired me to shot some of these locations, and even many movies. That really helped me actually. Some of the pictures were inspired from that.
Great, great. Thank you for that answer. I think, you know, it brought a smile to a lot of our panelists also. So I am assuming that it would have made everyone, all the participants also smile. Okay, I'm going to take one more question, and this is from Rohan Gandhi. So Rohan, if you would just like to come up ahead, let me see where you are. Yeah, Rohan. Rohan, if you're there and you want to start your camera.
Yeah, I have started. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear Rohan. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sir, like I have seen your work, and as you have, I mean, mostly Jesse sir has already asked you one. So one of my question has been cleared. The thing I want to know is that, what do you suggest in terms of the equipments you carry while you are once on a traveling abroad? Like, as you have said that, in Vietnam or some other cities or the countries, there is no drone issue. But there are certain cities as well which are good. So do you find any issue and how you deal with that in terms of, getting the drone over there and shooting with that?
So again, it's another tough question to answer. So I haven't faced any issue so far. I have a small drone, and mostly they won't so in places like Vietnam or Bali, they won't bother unless you're breaking the rules. That's point one. And one of the few rules what in Bali they have is you cannot fly over temples, you cannot fly anywhere close to airport. And there are some places even they charge for flying drone, which is a good thing.
Okay.
And while coming back, it's better to declare whatever you have. So once you have the custom declaration form, I think it will help you.
So that means that once you have a declaration or whenever you go anywhere, you just let us know that, okay, you have a drone. That's what something? Because even in airport authorities there, I think I have seen one of my friend has, but they was like, you cannot take a drone sometimes. The authorities don't allow it.
So domestic, they won't worry. But right now it's a good time to have a drone because the government is considering to legalize all the drones. Even in January, they asked us to voluntarily disclose our drones. So till they come up with new rules, you can carry it if you have the DN and ON number.
Okay. Okay.
Speaking about the present.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rohan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So in fact, the government did come out with something called as a digital sky policy.
Exactly.
And they also had a website called Digital Sky Portal where you could go and you could register your drone. But in the last 3 years that that portal has been live, I have not seen even one single brand or one single product being what do you call, certified or approved for use in India. And you're right. Once I was traveling to Singapore and I just asked one of the duty free shops, they had a nice drone on sale, and I said, I want to pick it up. They said, show me your passport. I said, oh, here's my passport. He said, oh, if you're India, we cannot sell you. We cannot sell you the drone if you are having an Indian passport. I said, no, but we have now clearances from government and they have this digital sky. No, 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 no. We cannot sell it to you. So he didn't even sell me the drone. Okay, next question I have is from Krish Patel. And Krish has a question. Krish, are you there on the chat?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, Krish, you want to ask your question or should I just
Yeah,
read it out?
yeah, I'll ask, no problem. I just wanted to ask that how do you locate the Milky Way on random spot or random day?
Yeah, okay, Krish. Firstly, I use PhotoPills app. And yeah, before the app, there's some websites where you can find the light pollution. You need to get away from the light pollution. The websites like Dark Sky Finder, and more. There are like you can either start googling what's the best place to shoot Milky Way in India. In the case where I shot, in my place, 2.5 hours. There's a photographer called Virendra. I've been inspired from his shots. He's from that very small village. So with himself, and I found we scouted those locations before we shoot. That is again challenging. We never know, but there are some places where you can definitely go and shoot, like maybe Munnar, Ladakh. You can find it, and but better now since now air pollution is better, so you can. I guess I shot star trails from my place, but not Milky Way. Not sure. So that's how you can plan.
Does that answer your question, Krish?
Yeah, I'd like to ask.
Yeah, Amit sir. Yeah.
Hi Rakesh, it was wonderful to see all the effort. It's visible how much you research and how hard you work towards getting each image. There's a pre-visualization, all that, and then also keeping tabs on what time the light is right. All of that is all your effort and study on that. It shows how much passion you work with. It's wonderful to have seen all your images. The question I want to ask you is, your start was so abrupt. You got a camera for your wedding and you decided to see if you could shoot, and you shot your hometown.
Yes.
But other than that, what or who, were there any people or any places, anything, any incidences which actually inspired you to, or became an influence on you to take up photography, or even later to pursue photography? What were the influences?
Thank you, sir. Firstly, thank you for your kind words.
You're welcome.
Basically, for me, so it's basically so out of boredom I initially started. So I like one main business. I like traveling a lot. So maybe that inspired me to take the camera out. So for the first few years, I haven't thought about anything. I haven't thought about social media or nothing. Just this, even till today, the reason I shoot is just makes me happy.
So. A few things that was said here, and Mr. Abhiray also mentioned, and it's interesting that somehow it's believed that travel photography or photography which you showed us, I mean, without putting into any category, is generally neglected nowadays. But I thought that there's a slight anomaly in that, because the thing is that it's always been, if you see the tradition of Indian photography in the last 30, 40 years, it's very driven by pictorialism, and I'm not using it as a bad word. I'm talking about in terms of pure visuality, the pictures that make you feel good by just looking at them. So I would say, in fact, the other genres of photography have found it very difficult to break into what would be called the beautiful nature and wildlife photography. So that's one anomaly that I wanted to bring across, if you feel you wanted to shed some light on it. And another thing is, if you were talking about references that or inspirations that Amit Asha just mentioned, how important is it just to be aware of things like who are the great nature photographers, who are the great wildlife photographers from the past, because so that we avoid rehashing history, because National Geographic somehow is looked upon as the place to be in this country, and not just now. If you go back 40 years back, also every photographer had this thing about National Geography and things like award-winning pictures and stuff like that. So as a practitioner of a medium, of a genre of photography, which dwells on external beauty, let me put it that way. Of course, with great expertise, it has to be captured. How important is it to also where that genre of photography has been coming from, especially in our country?
Before that, I'll tell like how I got into landscape and aerial photography. So initially, so like many photographs, I started shooting all genres, from macro, even I did a wedding, to street and everything. But when you see work of some maybe people you look up to, I mean, you generally tend favoring some people. So one of my first inspirations, I mean, I used to follow works like my main inspiration is Bobby Joshi, and then people like Chris Buggett, Max Wright. I tend to like their work more, and maybe that's how I realized that my heart lies in shooting. Maybe I like. But before photography, I was never a sunrise guy or sunset guy. Maybe I'm just trying to compensate now for all those missed sunrise sunsets. And for aerial, for coming to aerial, I still maybe think whenever I try to fly my drone, I still treats there's a kid in me comes every time. So most of the time I don't take it seriously. I just love flying it. So and even with even some of the, even if you've seen some of my wildlife shot that I kept, I try to, even the aerial photography, I try to embed the landscape style, the flavor of it. So
thank you. As long as you're enjoying yourself, keep it up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for sharing.
I'd like to say something, please.
Baman sir, please, yeah.
Sir. Hi, sir.
Rakesh, so wonderful, so breathtaking.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that there's so many questions that have been asked, and please don't get me wrong, and please don't be offended, all of you, on the drone. And everybody's been asking how the drone. I've been reading some of the questions in the chat box. Which drone are you using? And all that. You've told us the rules, the regulations, and how you get about doing it. But I think more than that, what we are kind of skipping out on is what you did with the drone. And I think maybe people would like to ask you more questions on what the composition is. The excitement of using a drone and feeling that you are techno savvy is a pleasure that will only restrict you. But what will release you is to understand the preparation and the image that you had in your mind, and whether you achieved it or not, or whether you got it by chance. I don't know either way, but you seem to be preparing a lot. I think so. It's a wonderful testament to what you do with the drone, rather than how you procured or acquired a drone. So I think that's point number one. And point number two is you come across as one of the humblest people, and there are a whole bunch of humble people on this panel, but you come across one of the most humble people I've known. And juxtaposing it with your work, you seem even humbler. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Means a lot.
Thank you, Baman sir. Okay, so there is a question from T. Shabri Nad, and that's kind of a follow-up question to what Swapan just mentioned. So, Mr. Shabri Nad, if you would just like to start your camera. Yeah, hi. Okay, so he's got a very simple question, Rakesh, and I think I will let him speak, ask the question. Okay.
First of all, thanks for letting me into this. My long-term question is how to become a national geographer. My long-term question.
Okay, so probably his voice was not very clear, but his very simple question is how to become a National Geographic photographer.
I cannot answer that because I'm not one. As simple as that.
So honest.
But do you want to give? He's a young chap. I think. Do you want to give him some tips about what direction to take and how you did the beautiful things that you did, and maybe that will give him a direction.
Yeah. Why young chap? हम भी tips सुनेंगे यार. इसमें क्या है? Why only young chaps get to hear tips?
Hearing about you, sir, only.
So one common suggestion is whatever you want to even nudge or something. First, you need to decide where your heart lies, and you should be clear on what do you want to do. Then just do that hard work and build that portfolio. Eventually, the good things will follow. It's as simple as that. That cannot add more than that.
Thanks for suggestion.
And please don't make National Geography the be-all and end-all of the world.
Correct.
Since years we've been hearing it, and they also have their own rules, and they have a very strong clique. It doesn't mean anyone who takes good pictures is going to be in there.
Correct.
But 40 years back, they could reject a picture because the color of the shirt was not red enough. So they have their own standards and own sets also. So don't make that the be-all and end-all. Now, I think photography should be practiced first, and everything else should not be based on these cliched yardsticks, because I think they're too outdated, and you have to find your own space. And there are many more avenues to show work now. And National Geographic should not be the be-all and end-all of everything in this world.
Sure.
You'll waste a lot of years if you just keep pursuing that.
Perfect answer.
Super, Sapan. Super. Very nicely answered. Is Sanjay Meerchandani on the call? Sanjay, if you could start your camera. Yeah, hi.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
My question is actually, I've also started learning some kind of Lightroom and Photoshop. I wanted to understand, I've seen a lot of vividness in your photographs, especially the landscape photography. How much is what is the role of photoshopping on this? Do you decide beforehand? Because sometimes it's gray, sometimes it's not as vivid. How do you take a call on the photoshopping your pictures?
It's a good question. The answer is subjective. One thing as an artist with expressing your artistic freedom is, I don't decide on the editing before or processing. So only once you shot some particular place in processing, one thing I keep in my mind is to process such a way that not the way I saw it, maybe not the way I felt about that place. And for the another one rule I have for myself is, there's no rules actually. You can break any rule as long as that output makes you happy. If you want, if making the whole image red, do it. But it should make you happy. We should please ourselves. But the other thing is, if I want to send to competition or to maybe the paper for if they want to publish, then I usually don't process my image. I'll just try to keep as simple as that, other than the color correction.
And so you mean to say, even if you have to make the sun blue or green or whatever comes to your mind at that point, you're okay with it? Or
No, I won't do that way, sir. I mean, like I said, few pictures of mine, I tend to keep, even if like say someone is wearing a red shirt, I won't change the color. Instead, I will either try to increase the saturation. If I want to decrease the saturation, depends on the mood, like how I felt about that.
Okay, great. That's a great thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Swapan, you wanted to say something?
Just to add to this, if I may, I've just my
absolutely
of experience on this. It's just that this thing about Photoshop. I mean, again, what is the validation you're looking for? If it's the followers on the net, go have a party and do whatever you want. But again, since a lot of emphasis has been given to the word award-winning and competitions and stuff like that, if you're sitting on a jury, I mean, the first thing that I would say is that Photoshop restricted to conventional darkroom techniques. probably what Rakesh was saying, that he would, your brightness, contrast, the color corrections, where you're not altering the pixels. But if it's any photo contest worth any substance, I don't think any kind of pixel modification is allowed. When I say pixel modification, means replacing something in a picture. So many times, I mean, do what you have to do in parameters, but finally, a lot of them call for your raw files just to see, whether you've altered the picture or added a cloud or deleted a cigarette butt. A lot of I would say the best contest, if it's a photography contest, should not allow alteration in the picture in terms of the physicality of the picture. And that is something which has to be practiced morally yourself. So that is something I think people should practice, unless it's you're shooting for a client and it's all in your head and whatever you want to do, fine. But if you're talking about your end result is purely photography, that should be kept in mind, in my opinion.
Great, Swapan. Thank you for adding that.
I have a question.
Just add to
Dinesh, go ahead.
I just wanted to add to what Swapan is saying, something which Rakesh had mentioned in passing, is also what's actually far more important is the fact that he spends a lot of time planning his shoot, understanding where he's going to be going, what time he's going to be shooting. Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? Is it in the evening? What angle, what location? So if you're going to be that thorough in your preparation, which a lot of people are not, they don't realize that, look, it's not okay to just arrive at 1 o'clock in the afternoon because it was a 4-hour bus journey to the place you wanted to go to. You need to make sure that you spend the night there and then get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and get there. If you take care of all those issues, then you don't really need to bother too much about, so how will I correct this later? Except, as Rakesh rightly says, that a photograph should end up looking the way he felt about it rather than even what he saw.
Yeah. Amazing point. Yeah. I have a question from Nikhil Sharma. Nikhil, are you there?
Hello.
Yeah, Nikhil, go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Hello, Rakesh, sir.
Yeah, hi, Nikhil. How are you?
I'm from Warangal. I have been watching many of your pictures from years. I'm following from you, and you have a great play of light in your photos, most of the photos. So how light affects in your photographs? I mean, in a normal day, what would be the composition you would choose if there is no play of light anywhere? You just have a normal landscape, and how would you do that?
Yeah, Nikhil. To put it simply, if there is light, I take my Sony mirrorless out. If there's no light, I take my drone out. So to make the best out of it. And so like light is everything for me, at least for the landscape pictures. That's when, if you observe the golden hours during sunrise and sunset, there's something about it. The whole place becomes dramatic. And I don't want to sound it filmy, but one of the reasons, again, I like shooting, I get influenced from movies a lot. There's one scene from Forrest Gump where he explains about his journey through sunrise and sunset. That inspired me a lot at that time. So even with a good light, the place which looks normal to your eyes before, let's say at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m., it looks better during the golden hours. And after all, light is everything in photography. Photography by definition means painting the light, right?
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. Can I take a question?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Rakesh, this one is basically while talking to you right now, I'm also opening up. I've been seeing what all you're up to on Instagram. I think it's only fair for you to talk a bit about your online presence. I see you have at least 100,000 followers across both Good Shots as well as Rakesh Pulapa on Instagram. Do you have any tips for photographers who want to be more visible on social media? And as well as I can also see, like, I've gone through some 30-40 odd posts. The engagement is incredible. I mean, at least like 4,000, 5,000 odd likes and a lot of comments. People who genuinely love your work. And I just want to know what it is you do on Instagram and how what you would advise to anybody else who's looking to gain an audience during this time?
It's like I would rather ask this question to you, sir, first. So, but from my side, I'll tell how I able to reach more people. I started because initially, even before I was starting, I was posting good pictures. There's not much visibility in my work, and it all started for one thing when I got my drone. And but the drone, not even when I started posting the normal pictures, the normal bird eye shots, which I usually say Google satellite images by reference. So I try to embed the landscape style, or when I started, try taking different sort of aerial shots, then the visible in my work reached more people. And even when I started exploring my own place, when they started seeing the Milky Way shot here, when they found I could able to shoot backwaters here, when they could able to see a hill station which no one shot, even the waterfalls. So maybe that gave that sort of sense to them. That's what I feel about that.
Nice. Fair. And is it just the work? Do you do anything else? How do you engage with your audience other than the work itself?
Yes, I like cracking jokes in my stories.
Okay.
So my place is also, the Godavari region is famous for people with sense of humor. I think you must be knowing it. So maybe that's helping. That might be helping. And
nice.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Okay. Yeah, there's one more question, and maybe 2 or 3 people have asked this. So I'm just going to ask you. People are curious to know that if they take up travel photography as a profession, is there a decent earning, and how to go about it in this profession of travel photography?
So still I'm trying to crack that code as of now. So one thing is other than not just travel photography, in anywhere, it has its own advantages and disadvantages. One thing we always need is a good portfolio. Now these days, the brands are trying to find you rather than we are finding them. Earlier, it used to be people used to maybe reach brands a lot. That's one thing. And travel photography, I don't know much about. The ways of earning is maybe the ways of first you need to learn the art, master the craft. Then there are many ways to earn. Like maybe you can teach, or maybe if you can through Instagram doing some campaigns, or if you have a good portfolio, then you can approach the types of brands you want to work, the corporates, if your kind of work suits. So
yeah,
that's about
it.
Yeah.
Great. There's one more question which has come up from Kritarth Deva Chaturvedi. The question is a little technical, and it says, how to maintain gray in a picture?
Which of the 50 shades?
Yeah. I think he asked for it.
Maintain gray. So in a sense, only part of the images I worried about gray is when I'm shooting clouds. Other time I won't even think, because the clouds, even some of the drone pictures, right? The gray, the only thing is you should overexpose them. So other than that, I didn't worry much about grays. Yeah.
Okay, great. So there's a question from Anand Parikh. Anand, if you would just like to start your camera. Anyway, I'm just going to ask on behalf of Anand. And Anand says, can Instagram be used as a portfolio, or would you suggest any other option? If you want to, create your portfolio, is Instagram a good tool to be portrayed as a portfolio, or would you suggest something else?
It can be used. It helps in many cases. But main thing is you need to have a website. If you need to present, if you're approaching the brands, if you're approaching your client, whenever I approach them, they never ask me for my Instagram. One thing they ask me is my either portfolio in an Excel sheet or the website. And when they if let's say when I'm recently doing a project with tourism, they ask me for a particular drone shots taken in empty sites. So they won't have the patience to go through your Instagram. They cannot, go through everything. So in the website, they'll ask you, they'll either check that particular images or they'll ask you to mail them. So it's better to have a website to be more professional. Yeah.
Can I add to this, Devang?
Yeah, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to pull off a Swapin here and give you an essay answer. I don't think Instagram should be your portfolio at all. It should be the farthest thing from your portfolio, because Instagram is literally your mainstream acceptance of your personality. What you show for social media acceptance need not have anything to do with critical work. Like, for example, I've had the opportunity to see some stunning work here by all the panelists on an everyday basis, and when I look at that work, I do not think any of that work will do really well on Instagram, because it's without the context of that speaker talking to me, as well as without the context of having this experience of sitting at a desk and perusing that work. When it's a simple scroll, when somebody's scrolling through a feed, that kind of work, it's not designed for that. What Instagram is more for either thumb stopping work or thumb stopping meaning something that blows you away and you're like, oh wow, that's amazing. So like, in fact, 90% of what Rakesh showed today in his first few slides is all great work for Instagram, as well as anything that engages you as an audience. That means that I think Rakesh nailed it when he said he has a sense of humor and he engages his audience with that. That's the kind of stuff that works on Instagram. Whereas the portfolio is a different kind of answer, which is what is your vision as a photographer, and how good are you at achieving that vision? And that has very little to do with social acceptance per se. I think you will be really good at both your portfolio as well as your Instagram if you keep those things as far away from each other as possible. So yeah, don't judge anybody's Instagram thinking it's their portfolio, and don't judge anybody's portfolio thinking it's their Instagram, I guess.
I think for all the participants, this is the best advice they can get. I mean, like, it's coming straight from two of the Instagram leaders on this panel. Okay, so Fauzan sir is unfortunately muted, but he is just he sent his question to me, and I'm going to ask.
He's unmuted, Baba. You can ask.
No, but there's a problem, technical problem with the microphone. So this question is from Fauzan sir. The government jobs, this is about government jobs. Rakesh, how did you get the government jobs? Did you make a presentation or did they approach you? What was it and how did you crack it? And the question he has asked is just because he mentioned that professionals are wary of being associated with a government agency, and he's also burned his hands once doing a job for an army division. Yeah.
So before Fauzan sir, I'm inspired about your story yesterday, so a lot. And coming to your question, so in my case, I tried approaching the government different parts of departments before, but I never got reply. But luckily, a few departments they approached me later for particular assignments. And even today, just on March 22nd, from 22nd, I was supposed to go for AP tourism, but it came to halt. So yes, for the first project, they asked me to bring my whole portfolio. Even like Joseph said, they didn't ask for Instagram or anything. They asked me to just bring an album, not even the website. Then they asked, I think they asked 3 people the same thing. When I said I have website, they said no, with website we cannot see clearly. We want to see every pixel of it. We want to see the sharpness of it. We want to make sure that you're covering edge to edge. And they even asked me to bring a bigger album. And they didn't worry about anything else. They just seen the pictures. Then they gave me the project. So that's one instance. The second one with tourism, I mean, it's kind of difficult thing to answer. So right now I'm doing a project, so I think I cannot answer your later question now. Maybe in person I can answer you that. Yeah, there are pictures I know, especially when after the project, if I may say so. And
Okay,
and maybe
the follow-up question is, did you get paid?
Yes, sir. I even paid taxes, so I can say I paid. I got paid. So one we maybe in government and other things, one problem we face mostly in the projects is the lack of communication. Let's say if more than one department involved, the department which hired you expect a lot. By the time you go on a shoot, the other department, they usually won't support you. I don't want to mention the department which I cannot. Uh, I you got it, no, sir. So like they expect me to cover the whole region. Even for the drone, they usually give drone permission from the secretariat itself. Still, some people won't involve, or they won't allow. They said, yeah, you might have letter, but we are not. As simple as they'll say, we did not get any information about your coming. So there was some shoots. I went at the place, I waited a day or two, and I came back without taking a single picture. So that's one problem I faced with.
Great.
But
Okay.
after that, yeah, I became a bit smart maybe. Then now I know like what to expect and before going on a shoot. I learned that in a hard way now. Yeah.
In fact, Vinay also has done a lot of work with government, and I think I know for sure he's not been complaining. So yeah. So there seems to be a flurry of questions, and I think we have hit that time, 4:30 p.m. That's the time when a lot of questions start coming in, and so that's what has happened now. And I'm going to ask Devansh Javeri to please start his camera and ask his questions. Devansh, if you're there.
Yeah. Rakesh, great work. I wanted to ask you, how do you deal with the monotony in a way a particular landscape or a national park has already been shot before by a lot of people, because there are just n number of ways you could, shoot a spectacle or a national park. And within that entire realm of things, how and where does your voice come in? Because the spectacle is already there, the landscape is already there. Even if we do a Google search on Unsplash, we get a barrage of drone pictures. So what or how do you define your voice as being an original? What is your recipe?
Yeah. Hi, Devansh. Coming to first question, like one thing I always believe is even now you can go to Taj Mahal and come back with a different picture. One, the light keeps changing, and if you have that it depends. Sometimes depends on the light. Sometimes depends on your creativity. And you mentioned national parks and other things. So one thing, like I showed about the Bali picture, that how difficult it is to come back with a different. You need to see things differently, or you need to let's say there's one place, just everyone shooting at a boat or something towards sunrise. Just keep an eye on the left side or right side surround you. There will be some interesting subject. I usually prefer this way. I go with subject wise. I like having human element in my picture. Maybe that's how I try to differentiate my pictures. And coming to second, can you please repeat your second question?
My second question was, what is your voice? We saw a lot of drone pictures across the web, which are varying to a degree of the light and the weather and everything which you talk about. But there is some people like a Sam Colder who has a very, very strong vision, and you know that this is a Sam Colder drone video. He has a voice. What do you, or how do you define your own voice?
There are a couple of ways. One thing I always keep in my mind to get a different shot is either the location should be different, or the technique you applied, or if you're shooting in a usual place, something subject wise. So that's why in the beginning when I started taking the normal drone shots, I was not entirely satisfied. Even if I remember last year around October or something, I stopped using drone for a month or two because I lacked that. I came to that point that I thought I'm taking the same sort of pictures. Then I took a break. Then I tried some new techniques like drone panning is one thing which I achieved a little, which I'm still exploring it. Because not many people has done that. In 2 years back, when I took the drone section, it was kind of new, at least in our country. And I try to embed that landscape sort of style. You see, there are fewer pictures taken drone shots in low light. One of the Valparaiso pictures, the difference between most of the drone shots and few good drone shots is the depth. You don't get that depth. You cannot convey the three-dimensional in how can you convey in your SLR camera, right? So if you can able to express that, then you can, it's not like your own voice or something, but just to be, like you said, different than others. Yeah. Few points I usually keep in my mind.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rakesh. The next question is from Renu. Renu, are you there?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Renu, go ahead. Yeah, we can hear you.
Hi. So my question is, maybe it sounds silly at this moment, but I just want to know how beneficially we can use the drone photography, especially when trying to capture pictures in the disasters and help out the government. So have you done this kind of photography before, and that has helped government locating the people or assessing the damage?
I haven't done that, at least for this session, this time of the COVID time.
No, even before that, I mean. Like in Kerala floods or anytime, anywhere in the country.
Usually at that time, we cannot approach the government either. If they give some legal, there's some, I got some links before that the drones can be used, but we cannot simply go at that time and we can shoot without proper permissions. They should approach us. It's not the other way around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because because without the commuting will, at that time we cannot even reach that place. We cannot even commute front and back.
But at that time, government may not be in a position to even give you the permissions. I mean, there may not be any time when they're trying to manage the disaster.
Yeah,
so
but what I know is some governments, they're using drones. Even in my place, when I shot that, had you seen my presentation, I shot that Ganesh Visarjan shot, right? I took the permission shot. At that time, there are two more drones. The police department, they're using just as a surveillance. So it means they have drones here too.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, they are using drones to catch people playing carom boards on the terraces right now. All right. The next question is from Khushi Mishra. Khushi, are you there? Would you like to ask a question, Khushi? Okay, I'm just going to ask the question on behalf of Khushi. So she said, thank you so much for sharing your work and your journey. Are there any mentors or photographers, either in person or virtual inspirations, who helped you achieve mastery in your skill and develop your vision?
Yeah, like I said, initially, it took 3 years for me to go on a shoot with a photographer, because I started late. I started after marriage, so I didn't know anyone at the time. So then for landscapes, the person I look up to is Bobby Joshi. He mentored me. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. So somebody wants to know, Kishore VJs wants to know, when will you show your night photography pictures which are taken during lockdown, as in right now?
I haven't taken. So yeah, so I want to take. So, but night, I don't think we can take night shots of lockdown right now, because everything will be dark. So that's why I'm trying to take some camera shots.
Right.
Even after the session at 5:30, I want to go to my terrace and shoot something now. Yeah.
Okay, we'll not hold you back beyond 5. There's one question from Smith Mehta. Smith actually wants to see some corporate work which you have done for Jet Airways, MasterCard, or any commercial work. You want to tell him where he can see that work?
For MasterCard, it's just campaign. They wanted me to use the drone picture which I had shown in Bali, and Bali, that surfer shot. Jet
Okay.
Airways, they used my pictures in their magazine. Some of the temple shots I had taken in Tamil Nadu. Yeah, and most of my corporate works and other thing, I don't. I'm planning to put it on my website soon. Yes.
Okay, great. Uh, okay, I think there was one question which I wanted to. Okay, yeah, there is a question from Rajat Maheshwari, and his question is: I have not used a drone, but I have given directions to a drone pilot. So the question is: does anything make you fear from losing GPS signal?
Yes, sir. Every time I fly. So it happened. I crashed my drone once in Vietnam, and if I remember, me and Joshua Karthik, we were flying in Sabah. Joshua Karthik uploaded a beautiful. He posted a beautiful picture from Sabah a couple of days. At that time, I was just next to him, and I lost my connection with drone. So still, no, but usually they come back, but still you have that sense of scare in it. Every time it happens. So during heavy winds, and even so I usually fly away from the people and mountain areas which I so that's why I keep getting this problem a lot. That's why every time I fly, even flying from terrace, I have that feel. I have that sense of fear. Maybe that makes me more cautious to fly. Yeah.
Okay, there is a question from YouTube which I'm going to ask by Rakesh S. And Rakesh wants to know how long does it take on an average to post process a photo, and he mentions that he knows that it depends on the image, but still on an average.
Um, if it's a camera shot, I take a lot of time. I like playing with my processing. I finish processing in 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. I use Adobe ACR. Then once I finish 90%, from that 90% to 100%, I take sometimes like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Maybe I like processing, so I keep some sitcom in background, some music. Maybe it feels like I treat that as treat like a meditation. I take a lot of time. For drone pictures, I don't take much time because you cannot process much due to lesser dynamic range. So for drone shots, I usually worry about transform part of the picture where there will be more distortion on the edges. Yeah.
Great. There's another question from YouTube, and this is from somebody who mentions that he's also from Rajamundry, Vinod Kumar, and he wants to ask, hello Rakesh, what could be the demand or commercial requirements for drone photography in future?
Yeah, hi Vinod. There is a lot. So I don't shoot videos as of now with drone. There is more demand. What I feel is for if you take videos with drone. I missed a couple of even movie chances because I don't shoot videos and I don't have the drone to take. And so yeah, there is plenty. If you see, if you observe the movies that been taking in last couple of years, there are many drone shots. It is for if you, in the titles or some of the scenes that cannot be achieved by a camera. And yeah, there will be a good future for using drones in more right now, and that's why we're hoping it get legalized soon for everyone. Yes.
Yeah, I guess drones are already being used in
Already used, yeah.
GIS mapping of
GIS
agricultural land, also
agriculture.
for disaster relief, and also yeah, there's a
And more in real estate as well these days.
yeah.
And the project right now I'm doing with tourism is they precisely want drone pictures to take the lands. Yeah.
Great. This question, the next question is again from YouTube, and probably this question will also, you know, get all of our panelists, other panelists also involved in it. And this question is from Pankaj Narshana, and he asks, what, according to you, is the difference between street and travel photography?
I don't shoot street a lot, but I can. So But one thing, what I observed is for the good street images, there are some very good street photograph people who took great street in the panelist itself. The difference is there are many street photographers these days. The only difference I found is there's some life in the picture in a good street image, right? You can shoot many things in street. There you'll be presented with a lot of opportunities, a lot of subjects. But some good street photographers, I don't know, either their framing is different. They convey in simple frame. I mean, the moment you see, even without reading the caption, you can tell what it is. So that's that's the kind of street photography I like, but which I maybe I don't know, I couldn't shoot or never shot. And but the travel photography, it's all about making best of it. Like if you go some places far away, even if it is raining, if there's no proper colors in it, it's like you cannot go. You cannot keep going again for the best light. So it's like making best of it. Yeah, that's the difference I found. Yeah.
Awesome. I would ask any of our panelists if they want to add something to what Rakesh said as in a response to this question. Just a second, Dinesh. I think you are on mute. Okay, Dinesh, yeah, please.
No, just to add to this thing about between street and travel, I think travel photography is the kind which wants you to, when you see that picture, it wants you to go to that place. Street photography is more of a challenge. It's a challenge to yourself. And, for instance, what Vinay had shown yesterday, it's to be able to control the theater of life which is happening in front of you, knowing who the characters are, knowing who the script is, but not directing any one of them, except choosing that right moment when everything falls in place for you. That's the difference. In travel, you don't need to do that. Travel really is about, can I get this person to come and want to come to this place? As much as with food photography, you want a person to be able to look at your photograph and cellulite, whatever, feel like you want to pick that dish right now and get to that restaurant this evening itself.
Great. Thank you so much, Dinesh.
Please don't explain a little more towards the neon photography in the same context.
I must tell you that story offline sometime. I don't know what a friend of mine what a friend of mine thought of my book Bazaar and what he thought of Prabhu's book Women. I'll tell you.
Hey, I think we've just about 5 minutes to go. Rakesh, are you good to take a couple of more questions?
Yeah, with pleasure. Yeah.
There's another follow-up question from Mr. Jassi Oberoi, and he wants to ask, if not travel and landscape photographer, then what?
It's a tough question to ask. Maybe I won't maybe generalize the categories, and maybe I'll keep shooting whatever my eyes likes, or yeah.
And I don't think, Jesse, you should lump together travel and landscape. I think they are very distinctly separate in terms of how you approach them, and what you want to get out of those photographs. I think landscape is almost a meditative process, whereas travel is more about communication.
Yeah, I agree, sir. But I also believe that landscape is also an integral part of travel, because if you don't travel, you don't even get to landscapes.
No, true. You're right. Sorry to interject there. Then you talk about the kind of landscape photograph which you would want people to see and say, hey, I do want to go and see the waterfall, for instance. I don't think that's a meditative kind of landscape. There's a very meditative kind of landscape photography, which has nothing to do with travel, which has nothing to do with wanting to go there. But just to be able to just kind of seep into that moment, which the photographer would have seen at that time.
Yeah. Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you, Dinesh, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, just see, Mr. Oberoi, your pictures are also equally lovable and amazing pictures you showed. Rakesh, I just want to ask you probably the last question, but it's not really a question. In so many years, in your experience of traveling to 26 countries and going to so many places, is there an incident, or is there a story, or is there a moment which probably touched you, or which hassled you, or something, some incident you might just want to share from your travels in these 26 countries?
So there are quite a few, some touchings and some weird, funny experiences. One of them I think we spoke yesterday.
Yeah.
So one touching experience is, I'll tell two. So one if I remember, it's in Rome near Colosseum. So it's almost this last day of Rome. So me and my wife, it's during midnight, maybe at 1 a.m. or something. We just sat in Colosseum for some time. Then coming back, we wanted to get a fridge magnet. So there's one guy is asking, are you from India or Pakistan? We said India. Then we asked back, he said he's from Pakistan. I think he was very happy to see us. He gave an extra fridge magnet, he wrapped it. So that kind, right, your perspective changes a lot. I can't express, he's very, very happy. We wanted to pay for the extra magnet. He's like, no, it's gift from me. And he wrapped it and he kept wrapping it, said you might lose it, still you have plenty more days of trip left. So experience like this touches you a lot. And on the funnier side, I think I want to share that experience which I told you yesterday.
Yeah.
So Boman sir is also here. It's so in China, after the fisherman shot, it was the last day of the shoot. So there's two lovely Chinese couple. They came towards me, and they're speaking in Hindi with me. I said, "What?" They're saying some movie dialogue. It's a movie dialogue. Say, I didn't understand for long. Even me and my friends were there. We are not understanding what's happening around. Then they confused me with the actor Madhavan in Three Idiots. Three Idiots was a big hit at that time. So I kept saying I'm not Madhavan in the movie. They kept thinking that maybe he's a celebrity acting such a way that he wants to avoid. They were after me for some time. Then I played along. They took some 30, 40 pictures. I just had one picture. I thought of sharing in today's presentation. Then I thought it might be silly to share. So it was one crazy. That's a story I can tell my children, grandchildren, or everyone all my life. Yeah. So it felt good to be in shoes of a celebrity for a minute.
As long as they didn't mistake you for virus, everything is fine.
Boman sir, अभी virus का नाम नहीं लेंगे.
So that one crazy experience, yeah.
Wonderful, Rakesh. Wonderful. It has been. I think it has been so lovely hearing your experiences, hearing you talk so softly and so candidly, answering all the questions. Your work, of course, speaks for itself. And I think in terms of the time, if you would have been having more time, you would have shown more pictures. And I would really encourage everybody to go to Rakesh's Instagram feed and see his Instagram account, because there is plenty of there are plenty of pictures which Rakesh has not shown, and which when you see it you will say, oh yaar ye wala dikhana chahiye tha, yaar ye wala dikhana chahiye tha, but it's there on his Instagram. And please do share all your love and shower all your love on Rakesh. Rakesh, thank you so much for this wonderful session. Your pictures reflect what you are as a human being, and in this short period of time, what I have come to know you, I've just spoken to you a couple of times. Wonderful human being you are, and keep doing the fantastic work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. If I may put so I would like to thank Devang and F.Stop for coming up this epic series. So when I start message from Devang, I said, okay, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna do any live sessions. Then I've seen my first session of Josh of Radik. So I really loved it. I like the way everyone is interacting. Then I said, okay. But 4 or 5 days back, I've been very scared. Then I joined a couple of sessions. Then I felt like I knew everyone. So still, like I said, first 3-4 years, I haven't seen any photographer shooting before. So till now, even today, for me, the photographers are like larger than life. So seeing everyone right now, you can see it's more than a fanboy moment for me. So it's been, I'm more happy than rest for now to share my work. I'm looking forward to see the journeys of other photographers in coming. And I'm sure lockdown might extend and the series will definitely have to extend in that case.
Or you too, Rakesh. No, but wonderful. I think it's been really a great experience seeing your work, and so humble you are. Really, I have been following you on Instagram for a pretty long time. I have been seeing your work, all your uh, shoots that you've done in various places, and I think 26 countries. If you have shot in, you've probably just shown us 2 or 3: China, Vietnam, and Bali. But I think you are as amazing a human being as your pictures are. Thank you so much for consenting and being on this show and series today.
Thank you, then. Thanks
Thank
again.
you, Rakesh.
And thanks everyone for patiently listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rakesh, once again. And quickly, I want to show you guys what's coming up. So tomorrow is a session by Soumya, and I would request if anybody has not registered for Soumya's session till now, please go ahead and do register for the session. Once again, it's going to be an amazing session, as has the entire series been, followed by Sudhir Shivram, and Sudhir is going to be presenting his wildlife photography work. And then this series will take a pause on 12th after Red Burman's session. And then we'll wait for what Mr. Modi says to decide on the further course of action.
Yeah, and then F.Stop is also waiting for what our Mr. Modi says, how we go ahead.
You put the hat on me very easily, Vinay.
पूरा देश तो मोदी के इंतजार में है कि क्या
But thank you once again, and lovely for all the panelists to join in today as well. I'm sure you have also enjoyed the session with Rakesh as much as we have all done. Thank you for chipping in with your questions and your comments, and we love to see you again tomorrow. So join us at 2:45 tomorrow. Thank you and ciao.
Bye.
See you
guys. Bye, Rakesh.
Bye everyone. Bye then. Bye.
राकेश मैं कल आ रहा हूँ तेरे पास इंस्टाग्राम के लेसन हमारे को तो कोई पूछता ही नहीं है